with the US adding another 28 Chinese entities to its trade blacklist and China prepping visa restrictions in retaliation, the hopes of a positive outcome to the week's US-China trade talks in Washington are pretty slim at the moment. However, the markets have been sort of here before, really. There's somewhat of precedent for a surprise after, weeks of negative headlines between the two nations. There have been instances in the past where some kind of positive, not even a positive outcome, in hindsight, an arguably meaningless sort of nod to some kind of sense of progress, that has ended up being enough for the markets in the short term to give them a boost. And with Trump, as ever, there is an element of unpredictability. So despite the pre-game to these talks being incredibly negative and the optimism for a positive outcome being incredibly low, there is still a chance, however slender, that there could be a surprise come Friday evening or Saturday morning. The markets will be desperate for any kind of positivity, even if these talks, nothing comes of them. Even the suggestion that talks will continue could be enough for the markets at this point. Ditto, given how bad things seem to be between the two nations, they seem to be drifting further and further away from a deal. If they can avoid any further escalation following the talks, be it Saturday or Sunday or Monday morning, that might be taken in and of itself as a market positive. The last thing the markets want at the moment is another round of escalation, the US slapping another round of tariffs on Chinese goods before the latest round of tariffs can even properly take effect. Especially if you've also got the looming spectre of a US-EU trade war potentially on the horizon, following the WTO ruling, sort of green lighting the US to slap tariffs on, I think it's $7.5 billion of EU goods. That hasn't come to fruition just yet, but it does put even more pressure on the US-China trade talks, just because investors will not want this trade war to start opening up on multiple fronts beyond what it already is at the moment. Obviously, the Dow Jones has responded pretty much as you'd expect. It started October briefly crossing 2,700. Then the WTO announced their ruling on the Airbus issue, and then it plunged at points below 25,750. Currently, it's sort of trading between 26,150 and 26,500. Its direction for the rest of the month could really, though, be dictated by what happens this week with the US-China trade talks, and A, whether there is a deal, or B, whether there is any further escalation. And as I said, if the two sides, even if they don't come to any kind of agreement this week, and that's looking incredibly likely that they won't, and the avoidance of any further escalation might be enough for the markets to avoid another round of losses in the aftermath.